No, I just sort of wanted to end this day with a bit of, I don't know, just going back to the roots, maybe. And because when I go out there in the wild as an advisor or trainer and so on, I hear a lot of stuff, and I hear a lot of assumptions around safe, and I see a lot of different things being implemented and things being done. So I just wanted to make sure that we at least agree in this room that we know the basics, right? Even people coming to the implementing classes when we do them, there's a few things that people seem to miss. So I'm going to be very clear about a few things, and then we can argue about them in the at bar. So let's see how it works. Okay. So people do all the work, and they're represented by people like this in the framework, right? So who are these people? Well, there might be hardware engineers, software developers, designers, all kinds of people who do work that actually someone uses. And then we put a framework around this. And it's great because there's a customer and there's iterations and there are PIs and all those things that we want to use, right? And then some people interpret it as a hierarchy, and as someone stated in a few presentations earlier, well, we basically recreated our own system. We just renamed things and so on. You all know about this, right? But that's also not okay. If we're going to get some results, this is not how we can do it, right? Oh, well, you can do it, but you won't get any results. So it's really important that we start to think about the sort of core intention here, being that we have customers, users, people who benefit from the things that we're doing, and they're using some sort of solution. And it's not this box, right? It's usually like an app, or an interface, or some product, maybe driving a truck. That's what they use. That's what everything is for. If we're not getting things out there, there's no need for anything else. No process, nothing. So that's where we want to be. Right? And now we go, so now we have two kinds of people here. We're people who are using the products or services that we build, and the people who are building them. Great, end of story. Now we can just go home because now we have everything we need here. Right? Well, sometimes they need a bit of support to do that work, right? And that's where this comes in. Right? This is the support framework for this to happen. Unless you implement something along these lines, you're probably going to get horrible results, hurting all the people involved, right? And you're not, of course, no one does that intentionally, right? But just to make sure that we're not missing this point, that it is really dangerous not to do that. So let's go through a few things that you can pull out of this framework and see, are we actually thinking about it the right way? And this is really when you start to argue with me later. Okay. So you are a bunch of people, you have the skills to do some app or whatever, and maybe you want to know what to do. Well, then it's great to understand what are we supposed to build, and for whom, right? Is this vision for the managers? No, it's for the people who do the work to understand where we're heading so that they can do the work. Right? Hopefully we're pretty aligned on this, right? And to craft this vision and to be clear about it and to have the support of the people who own the company and so on, great! Business owners, product managers, everyone, right? Good. But not for the sake of it, but for the sake of these people understanding where we're heading. Good. Same for roadmaps. Should be some sort of, aha, that's how we're planning to get this done. It is not just an exercise that we do because someone thought that it would be great if we have a roadmap. checklist. It is about understanding. So if we put gibberish in here, no one understands and no one has any value out of doing it. Also, if we're not doing it, people might be like, all right, so we're going to build this great application, service, whatever. How? And have you thought about things? Yeah, this is sort of a rough estimate that we have right now. How we can do it, sure. So if people do not understand these things, you have to do a better work at doing roadmaps and missions. Same goes for architecture. If you're not implementing the architecture, it's worthless. It might be worthless anyway, even if you implement it, but if it's not implemented, it's really worthless. So there are all kinds of things happening here, right? Where the enterprise architects building their cloud castle in the sky, no one ever hears about it, and especially no one implements it. The visions of people doing these. And the same goes for all kinds of architectures. It should be relevant. It should be like, thank you. We, the people who do all the work, we're so thankful we can have these architects who can help us understand these really hard things, how things are put together and separated and so on. That's the aim of architecture. And some architects, when you ask them about how they see their work, they have other priorities than people understanding it. Like drawing things and put it in boxes and so on. Which is great, but again, it needs to be communicated and sold. People will want to implement. Okay. So if you have all these experts, great people, they meet, and we have a vision, we need to go somewhere, we're going to build this product together. Well, that could be, okay, let's just meet this Monday morning in the cafeteria and try to plan what to do. Perfect. Great. Do we need some help, maybe? Yeah, it would be great to have some support with someone who maybe have been thinking about what's the priority of things we could do? What do the customer wants? There's a lot of things to do, like when we talk about product management, that can really help us understand what to do. But then it's up to us to sort of pull that out, right? With the help of facilitation, to come up with what we can do and cannot do. I hope this is not news for anyone in the room, right? But again, there's a lot of bad things happening out there where this is not happening. It's actually people are putting in PI objectives as input to the PI planning. Oh. The people who do the work need to plan accordingly to what we think is most important for the organization to do. Simple. And then a little bit of a note about features. Have you ever seen these features here coming into an agile release train being very locked onto a specific team? It is actually a feature that is now thrown away, put into 3 parts, perfectly for the different teams. How do you get collaboration between the 3 teams now that you cut the actual feature, the actual user need, into 3 pieces? Thank you for not answering, because it was a rhetorical question. Well, there are a lot of people who put in coordinators to get the teams to talk to each other again, because you cut it up into parts and pieces. And you have nothing to talk about in the PI planning because you don't have the thing that you need to collaborate about. You throw that away. Best intentions, but still, no. You need to keep the real problem that you're intending to solve. Present that hairy and a bit undecided so that the people can figure out how to solve it. That is implementation of a feature. So great. Now our teams, they know where to go, they've planned their work and so on. Let's start meeting and talking about how are we doing. Again, these people should be interested in reaching these goals because they've set them themselves. They need facilitation and help, support, to make sure that they're coming to some meetings and talking to each other and so on, right? But it is not for that person that we do it. It's for ourselves and the customers and the real goals that we set. So, we should deliver for the customer. We most probably want to build a pipeline and some sort of automation that is helping us to reach that faster, right? And that's what we're doing together because we want to reach these goals, right? And that's why we look at a Kanban board together with real features. We talked about the bad features, right? The real features are on this board, and that's why we talk about together, because we need to deliver together. We need to work together to get things from here to there. And no one else is better equipped to talk about that than people who try to do that work. And again, it's great to have support and help, facilitation, experts and so on, to talk to when you do that. And when you are working on things that demands several teams to actually deliver some value on it, it's also great to show results that are combined. And it's not boring to look at a demo when you're actually a part of most of the things that happens in the demo. And it's actually about our customers and the real product that we're building. It's not just a bunch of Jira tickets that some other teams are doing that we don't care about. Instead, we're focusing on the solution that we're trying to build together. And then it gets fun and engaging, right? So, in summary, don't do that. Don't just recreate the old system that we had, the old ways of thinking, breaking down things, handing it out to people, checklists and whatever. Instead, make sure that when you're using a framework or inspired by puzzling together whatever you do, make sure that it's actually a support for the people to do the work so that we serve our customers. That's what I want to leave you with today. So thank you so much for coming.